Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion on all things well-being. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and it is my pleasure, absolutely my pleasure today, because I am enjoying doing these videos immensely. It's just so much fun. I'm having such a blast. It's my pleasure to get right down into it as far as becoming the boss of your brain. That is the foundation of Minecraft. And today, we're actually going to acknowledge what a bluebird it is. It's so gorgeous. There goes little Caesar, right? He's a very odd little goat. But okay, so the hunting season hat, you notice that. I know it's rather subtle. Well, anyway, I thought it was over. Well, rifle season's over. But little Giovanni and I were out in the woods earlier. I saw the most ginormous bear print I've ever seen in my life, like even at a zoo. Wow, I took pictures of it, but I don't know how to do that on the video, so you just have to believe me. It was bigger than, like it was like one of my feet and like another half a foot, like, and then just a huge, big mama. So anyway, I saw a couple of hunters up there, a couple of trucks and one actual hunter, and he says, no, it's muzzle loading season, and people have doe permits, and he was super nice. So yeah, hence the notice me hat, because I don't want to get, shot and go to my great reward, as my grandmother would say. I mean, eventually, I'm just not today, hopefully. Okay, so today we're going to talk about mindful versus mindless giving. Now, of course, 12 months a year, 365 days plus leap year, it's a good idea to give of ourselves, obviously. And we've been talking about with this little theme we have going with the holiday season. And, we've been talking about a lot of the hard stuff because it's just the truth. The hard stuff is obviously there the other 11 months. It's just sort of like the blanket is yanked off during the holidays, I think. And there's also lots and lots of good stuff going on out there. I mean, the goodness of people really comes out during this season also. And so, obviously, we talked about the basic needs last time. Maslow's hierarchy, Abe, one of my favorite psychologists. The other one being Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps. So just two good, really good men. So the scarcity thing, so that also is like the flip side of that is, to really kind of focus ourselves on generosity. And I'm not trying to be preachy, because I'm not even into that. I don't even like people like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, even psychologically speaking, and very Gandhi, we talked about that, and very paraphrased. Gandhi said, if you're feeling blue or even not, get out and do something for somebody, because there's actually a dopamine fix when we do nice things for people. It's probably, the source, higher power, universe's way of keeping us, doing good, nice things for people. But here's the thing. Giving is good all the way around. Obviously, people, especially that are not having their basic needs met, to give cash, I mean, totally encourage that. And that said, the effort thing is also huge, because though it's absolutely necessary, I don't want to send the wrong message here. It's obviously a very good thing to give money, write checks and stuff. And it does take much more, though, usually, you would actually put in effort, which is just such a biggie. And we also talked about the loneliness epidemic in the United States and also world, right? And so much so that the United States has bumped loneliness up along with smoking and obesity as the #1 cause of death in the United States. Think about that. And it was just a few years back, the Prime Minister of England actually created a position, the Minister for Loneliness, I think it was of Loneliness, the Minister of Loneliness, because they had such a gigantic problem. They actually created a position in the government to try to, get a grip on it. I mean, it's just so huge. And I was also very, I don't know what I was. I would say not really surprised, or just sort of authentically happy with the honesty, because I had a couple of students this week talking about being lonely, and there were two students that you wouldn't ever guess that of. They were, they're very, very outgoing, happy-go-lucky, seemingly on the outside. We never know what's going on the inside, right? And they both talked about it, and they said, you know what, I think sometimes when you're outgoing, people assume that you're not lonely. Like, you've got all these people. She's like, they were both saying this, like a similar thing. But, we know lots of people, but when you know lots of people, they don't know you necessarily. So it's just really interesting spin. So I just wanted to put that out there. So the mindful versus mindless giving, this is very important. So giving is good in general, right? But here's the thing now. Preferably, it's mindful, and you know if you're giving mindfully or mindlessly by how you feel, because mindful giving gives us a total authentic lift, an authentic lift when we're giving of ourselves in a genuine way, volunteering, just a food shelf or sitting with somebody, visiting people who are lonely. Doesn't mean it has to be people you don't know. Plenty of family members that might need, to go out for lunch or go for a walk in the woods or, whatever. But it actually takes time, it takes time because our life minutes, we tend to be often, sometimes, or fill in the blank with that one, depends on the person. We can tend to be stingier with our life minutes even when it's important than we are with cash, because cash can also be easier. Again, I'm not saying don't do that because it's important. It's just important to really give of ourselves, I guess is what I'm saying. So the mindless thing, here's the trickerino here, because mindless giving is very codependent. And so those engaging in it are going to feel drained and often resentful because it builds, and they often don't realize they're doing it. But once you become aware of the difference, you really just know based on how you feel. So especially at this time of year, it can be even more difficult to say no and set appropriate boundaries. So it's where you bake the cookies for this thing, we bake the brownies for that thing, we do this for that, and we yes, 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 yes. And we take on too much because we think there's some kind of honor in running ourselves into the ground, and there isn't. It's just a lack of self-value. I mean, I'm also not saying don't go out of our way for people, because it's very important to go out of our way for people. Looking at balance, because, and I've experienced this myself back in the day, just yes, 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 yes. And then you're completely exhausted, snapping at, a partner or a friend, and you maybe end up with the flu. That's not mindful giving. It's not authentic. Not at all. What it is codependence, because what we're really doing, even though people are benefiting from our homemade cookies, I'm talking about over the top stuff, not just, a dozen cookies or something, but over the top and just yesing and running this Christmas thing and that, we often, just build. What we're looking for is appreciation and kudos, and that's all the ego. The ego is looking for, look what I did for everybody. Look, I did this, I did that, I ran the Christmas pageant, I baked 4,000 cookies for this group and 5,000 cookies for that group, and did this, that, and the other thing. And it's really more of a look at me, even though we're not thinking that at the time. Look at what I did. Look at what a good person I am. And it's just like what we were talking about before, is the authentic self already knows she or he or they are a good person. They don't need to go looking for the approval. So the difference is it's still giving. It's just it's really just the mindset, and also some boundary settings, because mindful giving, we don't feel depleted, we don't feel resentful, we're not looking for kudos, we're just giving because it's straight from the heart and it's not beyond our limits. It's because it feels energizing. It feels really, really energizing to give mindfully versus look at how much I've done for everyone. That reduces us to a human doing. That's the ego. The authentic self is the being part, and it's just very, very important and far more rewarding, because mindful giving brings inner peace and just joy, where you feel like you're just going to bust. So it's just so exciting to give mindfully, and a lot of times it's just spontaneous, and it's just really, really, really great. So there is the difference. And the other thing too is with mindless giving often involves a lot of just inauthentic behavior, and it can be disguised, because like when people are coming in with us, it looks like it's all good stuff, and again, the giving part is good. It's just the depletion, the resentment, and the getting getting drained and exhausted and burnt out, the part that's not good. But we often are also trading some nice. We talked about that, trading nice for the approval, and the nice isn't authentic. That's all ego stuff. Kindness is authentic. So there we go. Look at those goats, huh? Aren't they handsome? I just got barked at by my husband because he didn't want to let them out, because then we have to put them back. But this is like a really beautiful day. And so I have Cheez-Its, which is what they like, to go back in. Also Doritos. We don't give them much because it's not like very healthy, but just to get them back in, it works. It works really, really great. Okay, so there we have it. Mindless versus mindful giving. One is draining, depleting, and of the ego, and the other one brings inner peace and joy and authentic fulfillment. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off under this bluebird of a sky in northern Vermont in my backyard with the goats. Have a mindful day of giving.